Hello, everyone. Have you ever thought that storing food incorrectly could not only ruin its flavor but also make your body age faster? Sounds serious, doesn't it? The truth is, how you store your food can greatly impact the nutritional value your body absorbs. If done incorrectly, your stomach won't get the best nutrients to help slow down aging and keep your body youthful. My name is Robot Lumamate. Call me Robot. Please, step into the Q&A room with me, the cutest family health expert, to discover 26 types of foods that, when stored properly, can help you maintain your health and effectively slow down the aging process.
Robot, I heard that keeping honey in the fridge helps it last longer. Is that true?
Oh, this is a very common misconception. In fact, honey doesn't need to be refrigerated. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize, making it harder to use and sometimes altering its smooth texture. Keep honey in a dry place at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. The amazing thing is that honey has a natural ability to preserve itself for a very long time without spoiling. So feel free to enjoy this sweet treasure for your health.
What about nuts like almonds and walnuts? Should they be kept in the fridge to last longer?
Great question. Nuts contain natural oils, and cold temperatures can cause them to harden, losing their flavor and texture. If you want long-term storage, freezing is a good solution. But in most cases, just keep them in an airtight container in a dry place at room temperature. Check them regularly to ensure they stay fresh and nutritious.
What about dark chocolate? Should I store it in the fridge?
Oh, dark chocolate is a health treasure, so don't ruin it. The fridge is not an ideal place for chocolate. Cold temperatures can change its texture and cause it to absorb odors from other foods, which diminishes its flavor and enjoyment. Just store your chocolate in a dry, cool place in a sealed container to maintain its deliciousness.
What about fruits like peaches and plums? Should they be refrigerated to last longer?
Don't rush to put them in the fridge. Stone fruits like peaches and plums need room temperature to ripen naturally. Refrigeration slows down the ripening process, reducing their sweet flavor and even some nutrients. Let them ripen at room temperature. Once they're ripe and you're not ready to eat them, you can refrigerate them to extend their shelf life. Easy, right?
What about olive oil? I heard keeping it in the fridge helps it last longer.
Don't do that. Cold temperatures will cause olive oil to solidify, making it harder to use and losing some of its natural flavor. Olive oil only needs to be stored in a dark, cool place to maintain optimal quality. You can invest in a dark glass bottle to protect it from light. This is the way to enjoy olive oil to the fullest.
What about tomatoes? I always keep them in the fridge to stay fresh longer.
I understand that habit, but actually, you shouldn't. When exposed to cold temperatures, tomatoes lose their natural flavor and become mealy. The cold damages the internal cells of the tomatoes, so they no longer retain their freshness. You should store tomatoes at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. If they're already ripe and you're not eating them immediately, you can refrigerate them for a short time. But remember to bring them to room temperature before eating to restore their flavor.
What about potatoes? Should they be kept in the fridge to last longer?
Potatoes are the opposite. Cold temperatures convert the starch in potatoes into sugar, giving them an unnatural sweet taste and potentially producing acrylamide when cooked, which isn't good for your health. Keep potatoes in a dry, cool place, away from light. And don't store them near onions, they can cause each other to spoil faster.
What about bananas? Does refrigeration help them ripen evenly?
Not at all. Cold temperatures cause bananas to ripen unevenly, their skin to darken quickly, and their natural sweetness to diminish. Keep bananas at room temperature to preserve their full flavor. Once they are fully ripe and you're not ready to eat them, you can store them in the fridge to extend their shelf life. But the skin will darken. Don't worry. The flesh inside will still be delicious.
Robot. I often store garlic in the fridge for convenience. Is that okay?
Oh. This is a common mistake many people make. In fact, garlic doesn't like cold environments. When refrigerated, garlic tends to sprout, lose its flavor, and become soft or moldy due to moisture. The best way is to store garlic in a dry, well-ventilated place, away from direct sunlight. This way, it will stay fresh and retain its nutritional value for a longer time.
Robot. Does storing bananas in the fridge help them last longer?
Not really. Bananas are tropical fruits that don't like the cold. Refrigeration causes uneven ripening, quicker browning of the skin, and changes the texture inside. Keep bananas at room temperature so they can ripen naturally and maintain their sweet, delicious flavor. Once they're fully ripe and you're not ready to eat them, you can refrigerate them to extend their shelf life a bit.
I heard that keeping uncut melons in the fridge makes them taste better. Is that true? Robot.
Actually, no. Uncut melons should be stored at room temperature. Refrigeration reduces their sweetness and decreases some of the natural antioxidants found in the fruit. Once cut, you can wrap them tightly and store them in the fridge. But make sure to consume them within 2 to 3 days to maintain freshness.
Robot. Does keeping basil in the fridge help it last longer?
Not at all. Basil is very sensitive to cold. Refrigeration can cause its leaves to wilt, lose their vibrant green color, and diminish its signature aroma. The best way is to trim the stems. Place the basil in a glass of water like a bouquet, and keep it at room temperature. This method keeps it fresh and flavorful for much longer.
I usually store bread in the fridge to avoid mold. Is that okay?
Actually, it's not ideal. Refrigeration makes bread dry and harden faster because starch degradation occurs more quickly in the fridge. If you want to store bread for a longer time, freeze it instead. Freezing helps retain its softness, and you can thaw individual slices as needed.
Robot. Does refrigerating cucumbers help them stay fresh longer?
Not really. Storing cucumbers in the fridge makes them prone to becoming mushy, soft, and losing their natural crunch. Keep cucumbers in a dry, cool place outside the fridge to preserve their fresh texture. If you want to chill them for a refreshing bite, just pop them in the fridge a few hours before eating.
Robot. I heard hot sauce needs to be refrigerated after opening. Is that true?
Not necessarily. Most hot sauces contain vinegar and natural preservatives like capsaicin from chili peppers, which allow them to maintain quality at room temperature. Refrigeration can make the sauce thicker and slightly affect its flavor. Just store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. However, always check the bottle label for specific storage instructions from the manufacturer.
Robot. Should I store coffee beans in the fridge to keep their flavor better?
Not really. Cold temperatures cause coffee beans to absorb moisture and odors from other foods, which can dull their natural aroma. The best way is to store coffee beans in an airtight container in a dry, cool place. If you buy coffee in bulk, you can freeze small portions to retain their flavor for longer.
Robot. Is it better to store white wine in the fridge?
It depends on the type of wine. Complex, mature white wines like Chardonnay should ideally be stored at a cool temperature of 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit to preserve their full flavor. Regular refrigerators are too cold and can degrade their quality. If you're a wine enthusiast, consider investing in a dedicated wine fridge.
Robot. Does refrigerating peanut butter help preserve it better?
Not really necessary. Refrigeration makes peanut butter hard, difficult to spread, and less convenient to use. You can store it in a dry, cool place instead. But if you want to keep it for a longer time, refrigerate it and take it out for a while before using to let it soften up.
Robot. Is it better to refrigerate tropical fruits like mangoes and papayas?
Not really. Tropical fruits like mangoes and papayas need to ripen at room temperature to develop their full sweetness and nutritional value. Refrigerating them too early can cause brown spots, dehydration, and reduced quality. Once fully ripe, you can refrigerate them to extend their shelf life for a few more days.
Robot. I usually peel garlic in advance and store it in the fridge for convenience. Is that okay?
Actually, no. Peeled garlic stored in the fridge can easily become moldy due to moisture and may lose its flavor. Instead, you can store peeled garlic in an airtight container or submerge it in olive oil to keep it fresh for longer. If you do refrigerate it, make sure to use it within 2 to 3 days to ensure food safety.
Robot. I often chop onions ahead of time and store them in the fridge. Is that a good idea?
Chopped onions can easily absorb odors from other foods in the fridge and spoil quickly if not stored properly. Place chopped onions in an airtight container. Store them in the fridge, and use them within 1 to 2 days. If you need to store them longer, freeze them in vacuum-sealed bags. This way, you can maintain their freshness and flavor.
Robot. I usually peel potatoes ahead of time and store them in the fridge. Is that okay?
Peeled potatoes tend to darken due to oxidation if stored for too long. If you need to store peeled potatoes, submerge them in cold water and keep them in the fridge. However, make sure to use them on the same day to preserve their flavor and freshness. Another option is to freeze them after prepping. But don't forget to vacuum seal them before freezing.
Robot. I keep sliced bread in the fridge to avoid mold. Is that okay?
Not really. Refrigeration makes bread dry and harden faster due to the starch retrogradation process. If you want to store sliced bread for a longer time, freeze it instead. When you're ready to eat, just thaw a slice and toast it lightly for soft, fresh bread.
Robot. Is it okay to store cut melons in the fridge?
Yes. Cut melons should be stored in the fridge, but you need to wrap them tightly with plastic wrap or place them in an airtight container. This helps retain their moisture and prevents contamination from other foods. Consume them within 2 to 3 days to ensure they remain fresh and safe to eat.
Robot. I chop fresh herbs ahead of time and store them in the fridge. Is that the right thing to do?
Storing chopped herbs in the fridge can cause them to wilt and lose their natural aroma quickly. Instead, wrap the herbs in a damp paper towel. Place them in an airtight container or Ziploc bag, and keep them in the fridge. This method helps them stay fresh and flavorful longer. Make sure to use them within 2 to 3 days to keep them at their best. Thank you for spending time discovering the secrets of food storage with me today. Which part of this video impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Also, would you like me to share more about healthy foods or the best exercises for body transformation in the next video? Comment now, and I'll plan it for you. Don't forget to hit like, share this video with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exciting tips coming up. Check out the 2 suggested YouTube videos here.